other episode.
Episode 21.
Yeah, episode 21.
There we go.
We finally hit the top 1%.
Yes, top 1%, but there's still a lot of parts of this podcast that we have to work on, obviously, but
Yeah,
in terms
but I
of,
mean, we've gotten really far considering most people would have just given up. Yeah,
100%, like, I still get kind of those feelings and like, from time to time, but knowing
what do you
myself,
mean?
like,
The ones are just giving up, or
no, you get feelings of giving up from time to time. I'm not saying you'll get it, like, all the time, but some days you wake up, you're like, shit. No, but that's a normal thing. Like, you have to fight it all. Like, it's a feeling you have to fight, pretty much.
it's just another war. Yeah,
Exactly. You switch.
but then, even I've noticed today, I honestly didn't even want to do anything today. And then once I did, because I had something at the solve, and then that helped. And then obviously just getting the small wins up, building up the momentum, I've noticed that actually helps out a lot.
Mhm.
Because I woke up late, everything was off. And then I just keep on building up the small wins. And then, here we are.
Exactly. How was your week anyways?
Honestly, just talking to mates about finance, and because I got a lot of mates who are involved in the crypto space, or who are thinking about doing this different business model, this different business model, and that sort of stuff. So it went well. I've got more filming I've got to do for one of my clients, and yeah, pretty straightforward. Yeah. How about
That's
yourself?
cool. That's cool. Are you like filming content and like, I guess?
I'm filming content, and source. It's going to be a bit more of sort of like a clip. It's a 30-second reel of his whole masterpiece. So I'm just giving him little sections, and then I'm just slowly feeding people into getting the whole piece. And then we're just going to set it out in album covers. And yeah, just doing it from there. He's gotten a few guys. I think he's got a band now, but we're just building up his marketing strategy with his band, and then just going from there.
Yeah, I remember you sent me a reel like during the week about like being in like a group of friends just hanging out at some like restaurant, bar, or whatever, and then they're gathering in front of a laptop, just looking at their business plan and whatnot. Yeah,
Like a
can kind of
mastermind.
see I can kind of see that right now, like with the band and stuff that your friend has.
Yeah,
But yeah,
well,
that's good, man.
I reckon if we met up in person, it'd be like that. I can even say to a few of my mates that you met up with who are like business owners, it's usually just us just basically exchanging ideas and just being like, would this work? Would this work? And also
Yeah, just keep trying. I had something similar actually in September. I was
what
helping
happened?
out a friend build his brand. It's an Italian brand. Like, basically, he wanted to. The whole idea behind it was, well, I kind of met with him. We spent like, I think, 2 lunches or dinners or whatnot, and we were talking on basically the mission of, his brand, and like what's the purpose of it. And then he kind of honed in on like kind of building a community of people that like throughout like collegial campuses in Montreal that will have like a kind of like a inclination to get to know Italian culture more, and like, similar cultures around that. And then pretty much the brand was built around that idea, like of, a community of people that are like kind of attracted to Italian culture. And then, from there, we kind of had this idea of like, okay, we're gonna film uh, like a soccer or football, whatever you guys call it, football maybe, a soccer. Yeah, exactly. It was like a soccer kind of reel where you have like the players wearing the brand, like the jerseys with the brand, and
Yeah.
then just kind of like building this whole community, like, vibe with the soccer game, and bringing people together, on the sport.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see how that works, because you're just playing off soccer being the most played sport in the world, and then you just try and get everyone who's involved in that sort of culture.
Exactly.
how did you actually end up, like to say, more off marketing from there? Did you do like more copy, or what did you end up doing?
Well, I was mostly like the guy who kind of like honed in on the vision of the project, but I didn't really do much after. Like, obviously he had to find his own like marketing team and, people actually making the logo for the brand and whatnot. But I kind of just gave him like my touch on it, But for me, like in terms of marketing, in terms of like actually making the logo and whatnot, for me that didn't really matter as much, as long as the purpose was there. But that was like, I mean, for him, I would say the marketing. Well, he opened an Instagram page. I don't know where else, what other platforms he had, maybe Facebook, maybe TikTok, and then he had like a reel where he was filming the soccer game and like the players wearing the jersey, like, so you have kind of have like models, you have like a whole event, and then, people just, yeah. So that was like the marketing. And then obviously now he's like selling the t-shirts, so he's kind of like making sales out of it. I don't know how he's doing there, but I think it's going well so far. Like the page is like growing slowly but surely.
It's still
And
growth though.
exactly, obviously it's from where he was like in March to have nothing. And then when I met him in September, then it started like momentum, like I kind of sparked momentum again. So then he kind of got back into it, and then boom, like everyone kind of put their hand in it and stuff, and then boom, he got the whole brand going. The t-shirt design's amazing, and like the logo's like super nice. So
So
yeah.
is he selling more of like is he selling more of like a clothing brand than an actual?
Yeah, it's more of like a jersey clothes. Well, for now it's like a jersey with a logo.
Yeah.
Obviously later, like depending on how the project goes and whatnot, maybe he's gonna like put the logo on other clothes like sweaters, crew neck, whatever, long sleeves.
I mean,
But
he'll
right
make a
now
lot of
it's,
money out of the sweaters and like all that clothing if he knows how to market it properly, and if he has a certain, as you said, with that underlying purpose, if that matches in the brand.
yeah, you see for me how it's important to have like a really good purpose that drives the whole like brand is because every time you're gonna think about like, okay, reaching the point of actually selling, like, say, a product like a hoodie or something, you have to go back and ask yourself, like, okay, how is it going to tie back to my purpose? Because people really like to have like a story around a brand, They like
Yeah,
to have like,
the
kind of
underdog story.
exactly.
Like
But
Elon, if you look at Elon or anyone else who's like made millions, like everyone loved him until he started making more and more. Then everyone just was like, "Oh, I don't really like this guy." And then it's just that whole story arc, and yeah, I could go on that for about hours on that.
yeah, I mean, Elon's story is amazing, man. Honestly, people are still like up to this day, like it's insane. But he's doing incredible things. Like I wish I can even collaborate with him with all the space endeavors and whatnot. But maybe one day, in the future, like there's still a lot of things that unmapped, undiscovered territory.
But he's also so far ahead of us. We need to at least get to $1 billion before we're even ready.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, in terms of money, in terms of knowledge too, like with the whole engineering stuff, like it's insane. Like, cause he kind of, he has his whole like first principles. Like he always stresses that, and then like kind of knowing how things work fundamentally, like, you know,
It's all
on
just
the physics base.
systems, really.
Yeah, for sure. Like after that, once you know how things work in reality with physics and whatnot, then you can obviously build systems like anywhere. You know how things work pretty much. Yeah, people like that, building a story around what you're gonna sell later. And that's why I think it all comes down to the purpose, right? It's like, okay, for that was building community, building culture around Italy, and then like, you know, anything to do with that. So like maybe later it's gonna, how people like Italian food, like it's such a common thing. So you can go around that, you can go around like maybe another event where he's like, I don't know, it could be like a kind of like a pizza competition, right? Like who can make the best Italian pizza, whatnot. I don't know. Like honestly, it could be that simple. It could be a bit more like if you want to make it different. Like obviously, I can't think of something now, but you can obviously find creative. Uh, you can plan creatively around events that's going to attract to
Yeah.
Italian culture.
I was going to say, even like you just gave me that example, he could even sell like, this is how to make authentic Italian food, and this is the recipe, this is their brand, you got to pay X amount for this, and then you could do it through that. Because I've noticed a lot on like following Carnival Aurelius, like I've noticed a lot of the time Italians actually have like proper food, unlike Australia, the States, and like Europe in general has like the proper food, not all this processed shit that we have. So then maybe you could market that as a health point, because like even from what I've seen on people's Instagram page, like they don't get bloated, nothing with gluten, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just pointing it out there. It's just a possible idea.
Just going off of that, like, you know, when you're talking about the health portion of the food and whatnot, like, you know, comes down to like, you know, the purpose of our podcast, which is, you know, health, wealth, relationships, and transformation. Like, honestly, I realized one thing here, North America, we're not really stressed on healthy diets and healthy food as much as in Europe. Like, or even like not in like Europe entirely, but like certain countries, like for example, like the ones that have like they still kind of maintain proper agricultural, you know, practices. Like, you know, I know like in Italy, like, you know, like the Eastern European countries, they still have like families that have like that own farms and whatnot, so kind of take care of like their own food organically.
Yeah. And a
So
lot
that's
of the
something
countries
that's,
actually made it illegal to have GMO foods as well, just
well,
to
you
let you
see
know.
that that's another thing too. I remember, yeah, they kind of try to pass that law here too about GMO, like GMO foods. I don't know if it actually worked. Honestly, it kind of
It
like,
probably it doesn't make any sense for Canada to do it. It makes more sense for the European countries just because of their agriculture than anywhere else. And also, just to jump back to it, I know in a lot of European countries, they've got laws to say that they can't have certain preservatives or additives into food. Red 40, for example.
let me see.
Yeah, and all this
Yeah.
other chemical stuff. Like if you compare like ingredients list, it's just like compared to America, it's like half, and then so it's like that for like America, then it's like that much for like Europe.
Yeah, so it's something like here living in Canada, or even the US, you kind of have to kind of take care of it individually, and kind of like separate yourself from the crowd, and you're like, yeah, these guys are going to McDonald's. Like, just say that. That's like the last thing on my mind and whatnot, because like you kind of get sucked into, right? That
Yeah,
food becomes like an addiction, then it turns into like depression and whatnot. Like you don't want to go there. I kind of personally take care of things like the food that I eat myself most of the time. So like I would cook my own food, do my own groceries. If I'm feeling like some weeks I need like better foods, I would actually go shop for organic foods, which is like a bit more costly.
yeah,
But
but it's worth it in the end. It's your health at the end of
exactly,
the
it's your
day.
health. It's like once every 2 weeks or every month sometimes. But
Also, do you
uh,
notice the difference in the organic stuff compared to the non-organic stuff?
in
Because a
terms
lot of
of
people say
taste,
they don't notice the difference. Yeah, in terms of taste and like bigger than obviously it's more nutrient dense and like properly farmed. What do you notice like any taste difference? Because I notice it's a lot more. It feels like a lot cleaner.
definitely, I would not just taste. I would even say like the like you feel like like you don't need you don't need to eat as much to feel energy, like high energy or yeah, the food. Like for example, when I would eat food like in Morocco, because the food is all organic there and like all, you know, fresh produce. It's not like preserved or anything. like after about a week, I can start feeling changes in my body. I'm already doing more things, lifting more things and whatnot. But here it's like as soon as I moved, like I remember when I came back and I started shopping, grocery shopping and whatnot, I was like, I'm starting to even look at the quality of certain fruits and just like regular tomato, cucumber, onions and whatnot. You can see the difference. Like it's not the same. It's like watered down in a way, right? Like the
Yeah.
minerals, like everything, the whole composition of the food that you're eating is watered down.
But then again, that would be the mixture of the farming style because they don't have like regenerative farming, whereas they just basically grow a crop and then basically plant another one after and just keep on basically taking everything out of the soil and not letting it rejuvenate as well.
Yeah,
And obviously, poorer water quality, poorer. Obviously, they don't let it organically grow and that sort of stuff. So it's like, yeah, as you said, you notice the difference straight away. It's just night and
exactly.
day. But also, it got me thinking. You know how he said that the organic food costs more. You feel better after it, don't you? Also thinking about this on another note, money is a way of storing energy. Okay, think about this. So if you have money, obviously, let's just say it's $100. It's $100 worth of stored energy. If you exchange that for, let's just say, like maybe half a kilo of meat, that'd be, let's just say, obviously, like what, maybe $30. That'd be like obviously that amount of stored energy. You'll be getting like more value for that stored energy than what you would be getting if you had like more non-organic or non-processed stuff. Like if you look at McDonald's, like it's cheap, it's not properly done, it's fast, it's basically it's a very considerable, like it's very noticeable the lack of energy put into making the McDonald's compared to making the organic stuff. You get a higher energy output than what you would get with, obviously that's included in the price, but you get a high energy output because it costs more, whereas McDonald's you need to pay more and more and more to get the same energy output. Let's just say it'd be like $50 instead of 30 just because it's more confined in that one space, whereas McDonald's is like little scraps and peaks of energy here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just something that just
It's
got
like
me
it's
thinking.
really going back to like what's really healthy for you, right? Like you have to really know what's healthy for you, and
Yeah,
it takes time to kind of like when you're like depending on the person's circumstances, sometimes they're like surrounded by people like that are used to eating that junk food and whatnot, and they got used to it later, and then now they're stuck there, and it's an addicting thing. Like honestly, you have to sit with yourself and just know like what's healthy for you. You have to push yourself to actions and tasks that are going to lead you to eat that healthy food. Like for example, going to the gym, once you start going to the gym, you're gonna be like, okay, all that junk that I'm eating on the side is not really leading me to actually achieve my physique goal or whatever, right?
yeah,
Because like you still have like that kind of like, for example, people who are bulking, they have like that dirty bulk, like it's like it's not clean and whatnot. So it's like you can clearly see it on the body, and like it's a reflection of what they eat. So then it's like now you're gonna spend 1 year eating that junk food and bulking, and you'll be like, okay, it hasn't really impacted it, like it hasn't really changed me in my physique. So you're gonna ask yourself, okay, so what the hell is the point of even going to the gym like that? So now you're gonna be like, okay, now I gotta start putting in the work to change my diet, eat proper foods, whole foods that are, organic, uh, all that stuff. And it's a lot more work. Like people realize healthy lifestyle is actually expensive. It's a lot of work, and it's expensive, but
it's
it's
cheap over the long run.
over the long run, exactly. Because when you're in your 40s and 50s, your body is going to thank you. You're going to feel more energy to still go out there for those runs, or like do these activities. Like I know this guy in his 70s, he goes out I told you, in the park, and does calisthenics like around the bar, like pull-ups. He does like bar pushes, like he goes over the bar and pushes his body, like he does that like almost
A muscle up.
every day in the summer. Like they're like half muscle ups, you can say. Not the full muscle up where you're going from under the bar to over the bar, but he does it like where his body's already over the bar, but he's like bringing his body down, like his chest to the bar and then pushing himself up. So he doesn't go like under. So it's like kind of like a half muscle up, you could say, but he can still do that at 70, right? That's pretty impressive. All that because he's taking care of himself, his health. I'm saying, he also had like problems too in his life, right? Like he told me like at one point he couldn't even walk, like during COVID, got him kind of like a slap to like kind of a slap to his face, like life telling him like, look, you gotta take care of your body, you make sure you're healthy and whatnot. It's always worth it, healthy lifestyle is always worth it. It's a lot of work. And you see how you're separating yourself from the crowd. But that's with anything in life, like where you want to achieve like proper goals, like you have to separate yourself.
Because it's always the crowd doesn't know. The crowd's always being told an answer instead of just following the truth. The crowd's following what they've told is what they've been told, but it's not actually true. It's not in every case, but it's in most cases.
Yeah, you follow what's easy for yourself whenever something's like, initially it's going to be heavy. It's like going to the gym for the first time. You have to just keep pushing until you're already out of it, and just try not to turn an eye back to what people or what kind of life you were leading in the past, pretty much.
I think it's also important to also take that in consideration. Like I've noticed with some people, even I've noticed with myself, whenever I go to the gym like 7 days in a row, like it takes a massive toll on your body, but you still just got to keep pushing through and just keep on, stacking up the odds in your favor.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because you realize there's going to be a point where you might not go to the gym as consistently as you do like now, like 6 or 7, even 7 days a week, which is insane. So your body is going to be used to putting in the work in other areas.
Yeah.
Like sacrificing sleep for extra hours of study, or even working on that big side hustle, or, traveling, whatever, because travel even takes a toll on your body. So it's like you said, it's stacking those odds for you, pretty much.
Why don't more people decide to choose to stack the odds in their favor instead of just basically sitting there idle doing nothing? We could just set it off on that and then answer that next week.
Could you just repeat your question?
Why do most people just sit there idle doing nothing majority of the time, whereas they could be trying and actually stacking the odds in their favor?
That's a good question.
We could leave it for next week, or we could just...
Yeah, I think honestly it comes down to the person, how they are, like their nature and whatnot, but it's also their environment too. It's kind of both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It comes down to the person's nature at the end. Like you're fighting, it's always you versus yourself. And like kind of you have to start with putting yourself forward first, valuing yourself first. And then no matter what, because like at the end of the day, it's all in your mind. And then after that, you'll see you're gonna start stacking those odds for you, seeing like, okay, what do I have to lose here or there, and then you just keep going. And even if there's a failure or two, or even like 20, it's not gonna matter because you're still putting yourself in front, pretty much.
But also you can reflect on that. The past isn't real. The present isn't real once it becomes the past, because the past is like the future. The past is already gone, but the future is just pretty much just a figment of your imagination. Like it's not real.
Yeah, it's not real.
I was just saying that the mistakes has just got me on that.
100%. Like there's always the opportunity in the present, no matter what. That's what you're looking for every day. It's like a treasure hunt in the present.
That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. It's like a treasure hunt.
Beautiful. All right, I guess that's it, man. We'll just end it off with that note.